Y'all, it's Super Stacy. My name is Stefan. So, I ain't do this in a minute. I ain't do my YouTube in a minute. How many days I just stopped making it? Like 5 days or 4. It gotta be 5 or 4. So, yeah. So, we gonna go with Wanseeentertainment today, cause I'm like, I wanna watch one of I wanna watch the scary stuff, cause his stuff be on. His stuff be on good. His stuff is good. His stuff is so good. But anyways, The Man in the Woods. Never saw that. So we gonna check it out. Sound like I'm cussing at the phone.
I grew up in the Midwest United States. During the 90s, my family lived in a tight-knit community.
Before we even go finish the video, I want you to bring that freaking snack. What is this? Go grab you a Cheeto crunchy, cheesy jalapeno. I only got 2 items, and go get you a brisk fruit punch.
And we would often have get-togethers and barbecues with our neighbors. It was truly the American dream. My brother and I were very good friends with all the kids from our neighborhood, and whenever we'd have one of these gatherings, all the kids would get together for a game of manhunt. To avoid any of the back and forth of who would be chosen as the hider and the seekers, my brothers and I would usually volunteer to be the seekers. There was this giant forest area outside of our neighborhood where the games would take place. And since we would often go fishing with my dad around this area, we knew it pretty well. You could say we were all very competitive. I remember it was the 4th of July, 1996. The entire community threw a party at the neighborhood park. And of course, this meant that we kids were going to have our traditional game of manhunt, one of the biggest we've ever had, and it would take place after the fireworks show. By the time the fireworks stopped, I'd say it was around 9:30 p.m. Shortly after, we gathered everyone for a game and began around 9:45. Things started out like any other game. We caught most of the low-level hiders within the first 10 minutes. However, there were still some of the older kids hiding out in some of the more obscured areas of the park. We were always told never to go too deep into the woods. To give you some perspective, the park we were at was at the very back of our neighborhood. Beyond that was the forest that went on for about 3 miles before you got to the highway that led into town. There was no hunting allowed in this forest because of its proximity to residential areas, so we would often see a lot of deer and other animals roaming about. Anyways, the game went on for a while longer, and despite their best efforts, we apprehended most of the hiders, except for a girl who was about 8 years old. We'll call her Ashley. I found this to be very odd because Ashley wasn't the best hider. We made our way to the small lake besides the clubhouse. This was the last area we would check before letting someone know that we couldn't find Ashley. It was about this time that I began to feel this sinking feeling in my stomach. I was only 11 years old at the time, but I could tell there was something wrong. I distinctly remember seeing the moon reflecting brightly upon the surface of the water as we made our way around the lake. When we got to the far side of the lake, we started hearing a strange noise coming from within the trees. It sounded like someone was being brutally stabbed over and over again, but no screams were accompanying the awful sound. The 3 of us approached the tree line. When my brother pointed his flashlight into the trees, we saw a hooded figure with its back turned to us. They appeared to be kneeling down and stabbing at something with a large hunting knife. As soon as the
So they had blood on a knife. He just stabbing something. It's not even blood.
beam of light fell upon the figure, it immediately stopped what it was doing and stood up. The next thing I remember is my oldest brother covering my eyes with his free hand and telling us to run back to the park. The 3 of us took off and ran towards the party. I remember hearing the sounds of thudding boots tearing through the bush behind us.
Oh, run.
And as soon as we got back to the party, my older brother told my dad about the man in the woods. The rest of the night is a blur to me. I only remember seeing the police showing up. and me falling asleep in my dad's arms. The next morning I was told that Ashley ended up leaving with her parents while the game was still going on, which explains why we couldn't find her. I didn't get a good look at what the hooded man had been stabbing at, but my brother told me it was a deer carcass. Looking back, I suppose we could just chalk it up to someone hunting in a restricted area. But there's still something that bothers me. What kind of person rapidly stabs at a dead deer in the dark? And even though he was nowhere to be seen by the time we got back to the party, I'm certain that he was chasing us, at least for a short distance. It makes me wonder what he would have done if he caught us. That was the very last game of Manhunt our neighborhood ever played.
Wow. This dude need to fix his voice. Cause I kinda didn't even hear the whole part of it.
First of all, I'd like to thank Filmora for sponsoring this video. Filmora, my favorite video editing program, has just been a keyframe. You can designate the section, and finally, you can do keyframing like this. You can zoom in on the scene very simply like this, and you can also make an ending part so naturally. I used to use some other programs before, After Effects.
For a long time. The house was located in a rural area. There's a big road with a convenience store and a gas station around my grandparents' house. And down there in the middle is a small trail that takes a long walk to get there. It was located in the most isolated part of the village. So whenever I walked along the trail, all I could see was a bamboo forest or a large area of rice paddies, fields, and streetlights. And the streetlights are all worn out, so only a few of them are operating properly. As soon as we arrived, I greeted my grandparents and had a really nice and delicious meal with them. Well, it was pretty good then. The next evening, all the relatives gathered at my grandparents' house. My parents and others said that they were going to see the nightscape of the night sea with my grandparents. But at that time, my cousin and I weren't interested in that much, so we decided to stay at home. We were chatting for a while, and it suddenly started to rain. Then my mom called me to check the door and go to bed early, saying that they were going to stay the night in one of the relatives' houses because it was too late to go back. So we were sitting back and chatting and watching TV. Some kinds of that after checking.
Skip it like 5 seconds. Yeah, like I said, skip it for 5 seconds. If it was just me and him, y'all could play the Switch if y'all want to. I'm like, hey buddy, you wanna go play the Switch all day? You wanna go grab some snacks? You about to rob something? Let's rob the bank. Let's get a gun from our uncle's house. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I was swearing. No talk. Give it another 5 seconds. You can skip it for another 5 seconds. I won't say all that.
We locked the door well. After a while, my cousin kept pestering me, saying that he's hungry. I said, hey, would you like to go to buy some snacks together? There's a convenience store over there. No, I'm scared to go out right now. Well, my cousin was such a coward boy. And in my case, I wasn't scared at all. I could walk at night or watch horror movies by myself. Eventually, I ended up coming out alone to get some snacks for him. Light drizzle was falling at that time, so I left the porch without an umbrella and stared at the trail. And at that very moment, I felt really weird. I got goosebumps at first. However, I soon ignored it and went straight to the convenience store to buy some snacks. I mean, everything was fine until then. As soon as I left the convenience store, the rain poured heavily. Holy crap, I should have brought an umbrella. Mumbling like that, I started to rush to the house. At that instant, the lightning suddenly flashed. Slowly frightened, I started running faster. When I reached the middle of the trail, I saw the muddy road and the broken streetlights.
How old is this little kid? Because he look like my age, to be honest. Well, I can't be talking. I can't walk to the store by myself, though.
And something was dropping over the muddy road. I couldn't see it clearly because it was too dark around, but something like a pebble kept falling under the streetlights. And when I looked up at the streetlight, my heart literally sank. I saw a silhouette of a person hanging upside down on a streetlight and holding on its column. It was a woman, and she was hanging like a monkey. You know what I mean. I was so surprised that I couldn't try to run away, just stared blankly at her. At that moment, there was another flash of lightning, and every time it flashed, the woman's face was clearly seen. Her crying face, smiling face, and a face with no expression. Looking at that face, my body was cold and stiff. I couldn't move my legs at all. The lightning stopped soon, and I couldn't see the woman anymore because the surrounding of the trail was dark again. I then started screaming and rushing toward home. It was then...
That is too easy. I'll be running like a cartoon character doing this. And the bag of chips would be right here. I would be like this. Oh, shoot. Because you know how cartoons be, right?
She was laughing out loud. Shoot, if I turn around, she'll kill me, for sure. I ran like a crazy person. And when I got to the house, I screamed, hitting the front door with my body. My cousin came out, opened the door, and asked me if I saw a ghost or something. But I couldn't tell him what I saw because I was afraid he might be scared. I was thinking if I should call my parents to come over quickly. But somehow, I didn't think they would believe me. So, I just thought I might have seen something wrong, and eventually decided to sleep like that. But I couldn't sleep well that night. I kept feeling weird. There was a bamboo forest right next to the window in the room, and the sound of bamboo leaves hitting the window was so creepy. Feeling uncomfortable, I turned to the window.
We will rise again.
And there was someone else. Someone was standing by the window looking inside our room. I couldn't scream again. Covering myself with blanket, I was shivering and thinking I shouldn't move. But then I heard a strange sound of a song. I didn't know exactly what song he was singing, but his trembling voice gave me goosebumps enough. It has been singing like that.
I ain't trying to be disrespectful or nothing. If I see somebody curtains open and somebody went in their house, I hope they die. Because you gotta act like it's an empty house.
For a while, and then it started knocking on the window. Open the door. It was neither a woman nor a man.
I'm like, how the guy?
Knock, knock. Open the door. Knock, knock. Open the door. It kept talking like that in a deep, low voice. But suddenly,
Open the door!
it was howling in an extremely high voice, and soon the voice was turning into laughter. I recognized that the laugh was exactly the same voice I heard when I'd run off the trail a few hours ago. I had no choice but waited for the sound to disappear. and I guess I fell asleep so faintly. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of the phone ringing. At first, I was even afraid about the sound of a ringtone, so I didn't come out from my blanket until Mom and the other adults came back. After a few hours, my cousin suddenly approached.
I hate they parents. I hate they parents. Why they parents just now coming back in the house? No, dang well, you supposed to watch your kids. You supposed to stay here or go with them. What is the point going out there? Like, what's wrong with people? Y'all, like, this is why parents be dumb these days. I ain't talking about mine. I'm talking about the people that act stupid. Cause they just be like, it's just so dumb. They just act so dumb. They be like, say like, I'll be like, oh yeah. They'll be like, oh yeah, I love y'all. See y'all later. And then they not making an easy save. They not making no easy save. What are you supposed to do with your child in the house? Only your child in the house. That's why I call get a babysitter or something. Like,
To me and said like this, "Hey, did you hear anything strange last night?" To my surprise, my cousin also heard that weird song, knocking sound, and the laughter yesterday. So, it was not a dream. At first, we were planning to stay one more day, but I begged my parents to go back home and I could come home right away that day. What the heck was that thing I saw on the trail that day?
It's a demon.
Do you think it followed me? Well, it's still a mystery that hasn't been solved to this day.
It's just a ghost. It's just a demon. Nobody can't see it, only but
You've asked for a better way to shop for pre-owned cars, and at Mercedes...
Anybody would they see? They gon' catch somebody that looking at that right direction. They gon' look.
Hello, my friends. Today I'd like to introduce a brand new game. And believe me, this is lit. As we all know, you guys and I like a horror story, and this is why I am convinced that you will love this game. A new game, Blair Witch, from the Hunt to Killer series has just come out. A few weeks ago, one box had delivered to my house, and I was absolutely thrilled. With this one box, you could feel that you got sucked into a scene in a horror movie wherever you are. Now, I know everybody feels bored, especially during this self-quarantine time. No matter if you are alone or with your friends, it's the perfect activity to play with this one box. You can have the best horror experience, and I'm telling you, this is not just a simple board game. This is a perfect horror experience that you could get immersed in. It's like you're playing a room escape game in your house. The thing is so simple. All you have to do is just register the box. You take it and just enjoy it. What else? Nothing. If you sign up for a subscription, you can get 6 boxes in each season, and each box is full of realistic evidence, maps, police reports, and more to provide a horrifying and immersive experience. You derive great pleasure at a small cost. I've been playing this game recently whenever I feel bored. And not only does the Hunt a Killer already have 100,000 subscribers, but it also has received over 2,000 5-point reviews. You can go to huntakiller.com/wansee and use special code for 20% off your first box. Again, make sure to use code WANSEE for a 20% discount. Can you survive the curse of the Blair Witch?
Ain't nothing comfortable in there. So I'm gonna just
This happened when I was in college. One day, I decided to sleep at my friend's house. After having fun eating takeout with my friend and chatting for a while, we both laid down to sleep. Then I suddenly started hearing the sound of a wooden percussion that is typically used in Korean temples. However, as my friend and I were sincere Buddhists, I just laughed and then fell asleep thinking it was a hallucination. About a month later, I met her again at a cafe near her house, and I made a joke. "Hey, did you turn on the Buddhist broadcast at your house that day? I kept hearing the sound of a wooden instrument when I slept over at your house." Then my friend suddenly looked serious and asked me if I heard it, and she abruptly called her mother, trembling. Hey, Mom. My friend heard it too. What should I do now? In confusion, I asked what was going on, and my friend suddenly cried and said, I keep experiencing sleep paralysis ever since I started living in that house. I've been suffering this for 5 months, not 1 or 2 days. I can't live like this anymore. She then confessed that she'd been staying at a nearby motel. It was fine at first, but she started to have sleep paralysis more and more, even when she was in the motel. I was so surprised when she told me this. To reassure her, I told her to pack up right away, check out of the motel, and come to my house. Then she cried even harder this time, and she said she's too scared to enter that house by herself. She asked me to go with her, so we took a taxi and went back to her house. However, the moment I went into her house, I thought I was going to cry too, and I was sure that something was wrong. As soon as I opened the door, I suddenly smelled rotten water. My friend had a goldfish at the time, and there wasn't even a drop of water left in the fish tank. The fish was dried up and laid there dead. We ran out of the house without even thinking about packing her stuff up. We didn't go back to my house right away. Instead, we wandered around the crowded streets for a long time before returning. When we finally returned to my house, we both sat on my bed, thinking for a long time about what we had to do, and then fell asleep. When I woke up the next morning, I noticed that there were several missed calls from my mom. When I called her back, she asked me, "Are you at home with someone right now?" "Why, Mom?" I asked her, almost crying out of fear. And then she told me about her dream. In her dream, a tall, skinny, and abnormally big-eyed man was looking through my window in black clothes. Why isn't she coming out? Why? He muttered this while watching me. Mom ran towards him shouting, "What are you doing?" Then she suddenly woke up from her dream. So I was honest and confessed to my mom about my friend's house, and she told me not to go anywhere with her. She lived in my house for about a month. One of her mother's relatives was a shaman, and she suddenly got mad when she talked about her daughter, and then advised my friend to stay close to me. I think her house might have been possessed by a ghost. I thought about why he couldn't come inside my house. I guess it's because my mom bought some ceremonial salt before I moved into this house. And one of my relatives, who was a monk, once visited my house to pray for me while I was away. Maybe that's why. My friend later told me that she had moved out of the house, and the owner actually accepted her request without any complaints. I think cheap houses like those always have a legitimate reason. And fortunately, she's doing very well now.
My father's grandmother once told him a story of a man from the 1900s in Mexico that had a very heart-stopping experience. Said man, and let's call him Jose, a very common Mexican name, loved to drink. So he and one of his friends are finishing drinking at a local bar one night. When they leave the bar, they say their goodbyes and go their separate ways for the evening. As I stated before, it's Mexico in the 1900s. For most people, you either travel by your own 2 feet or by horse. Luckily for Jose, he had a horse. So off he went, back to his home late at night, taking the dirt trails. Along the way, he passes under a bridge. As he comes out the other side, he begins to hear what sounds like a child crying. He stops and gets off his horse. He looks in the direction of the crying. He soon finds the source of the crying. It's a little boy crying all alone. He asks the child if he's all right.
"I'm lost. Can you help me?"
Jose, of course, agrees to help the little boy, so he picks him up and places him on the rear of the saddle. He gets back on, and then they're on their way. As they travel along, Jose feels the little kid poke his back a few times. So Jose asks what's the matter. The young boy responds,
Daddy, look.
I grew teeth. When Jose looks back, he's face to face with a horrifying sight. What was once a little boy now set a dark figure with rows of sharp, long, white teeth smiling at him, with a pair of eyes that radiated death itself. Turning white with fear, Jose's only reaction was to pull back the reins of the horse, which causes the horse to fall backwards. Luckily, he didn't get caught in the middle and just fell off the back. Jose wasted no time getting up and looking for his horse, but unfortunately the horse had been spooked and ran off into the night. Jose proceeded to do the same and hightail it out of there, not even daring to test his luck. He didn't look back. The following day, when his friend asked to go for some drinks, he said only a little, because he didn't want to stay too late.
Oh, crap. Wow. I like that. Because this could be...
Hello, my friends. Do you remember the Darkest Secret channel? If not, let me introduce you to this channel again that our horror story fans would like. This is a channel that you can see the videos of all the mysterious creatures, edited, fake, and repeated videos. I'm tired of that. That's why I like the Darkest Secret. This channel receives contributions from paranormal experiences that happen to people in all parts of the world that makes Darkest Secret so special. Their videos really show us that on this planet there seems to be a secret that no one tells us. Here you'll be able to see mysterious videos that you've never seen before. Look at this scene. Isn't it creepy? There are so many mysterious things in this world, and no doubt it's always fun to see them. I wrote the channel link below for those who are interested. Go visit this channel and check it out. And you'd better watch your back.
Just like that dude just said, you about to watch your back every day. Especially when you walk along outside. I don't care if it's daytime. Because daytime could have empty spots everywhere. So y'all might as well just want to just... I'm going right position. I'm just saying you could die for being stupid. Well, but, I mean, everybody don't gotta be stupid because they dies. But it's just like, you gotta think to be smart to be surviving.
Son, we need to talk about internet safety. I slowly crumpled down onto the floor next to him. His laptop was open and he was playing Minecraft. Comments scrolled down the side of the screen in a chat box, and
He playing my first favorite game, Wanseeentertainment, but nah, I gotta give you this like 10K. Get him 20K right now. More than that. Get him like $1 million for that Minecraft. It don't stays for Minecraft.
I could see his eyes were locked into the action. Son, can you stop your game for a minute? He then closed the laptop and looked up at me. Dad, is this going to be another cheesy, scary story? What? I faked hurt feelings for a second. Then I grinned at him. I thought you liked my tales. He grew up listening to my stories about children who encountered witches, ghosts, werewolves, and trolls. And like many generations of parents, I use scary stories to reinforce morals and teach lessons about safety. Single dads like me should use all the parenting tools at their disposal. They were fine when I was 6, but now that I'm getting older, they don't scare me anymore. If you're going to tell a story about the internet, can you make it really, really scary? I squinted at him incredulously, and he folded his arms and said, Dad, I'm 10 and I can handle it. Okay, I'll try. I began. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Colby. He sighed deeply. It was sure that his expression indicated that he wasn't impressed by the introduction. I continued. Colby went online and joined several children's websites. After a while, he started talking to other kids in-game and on the message boards. He made friends with another 10-year-old boy named Helper23. They liked the same video games and shows, they laughed at each other's jokes, and they explored new games together. After several months of friendship, Colby gave Helper23 6 diamonds in a game they were playing. This was a very generous gift. Colby's birthday was coming up, and Helper23 wanted to send him a cool present in real life. And Colby figured it wouldn't hurt to give Helper23 his home address, as long as he promised not to tell it to any strangers or grown-ups. Helper23 swore he wouldn't tell anyone else, not even his own parents, and set about mailing the package. I paused the story and asked my son, "Do you think that was a good idea?" "No," he said, shaking his head vigorously. In spite of himself, he was getting into the story. Well, neither did Colby. Colby felt guilty about giving away his home address, and his guilt began to grow. By the time he put on his pajamas the next night, his guilt and fear were larger than anything else in his life. He resolved to admit the truth to his parents. The punishment would be steep, but it was worth it to have a clear conscience. He squirmed in his bed as he waited for his parents to tuck him in. My son knew the scary part was coming up. He leaned forward, wide-eyed, and I spoke quietly and deliberately. He heard all the noises of the house. The washing machine bounced around in the laundry room. Branches scraped against the brick outside his room. His baby brother cooed in the nursery. And there were some other noises he couldn't quite pinpoint. Finally, his dad's footsteps echoed down the hall. "Hey, Dad!" he called out nervously. "I have something to tell you." His dad stuck his head in the doorway at a weird angle. In the darkness, his mouth didn't seem to move, and the eyes were all wrong. "Yes, son?" The voice was way off, too. Are you okay, Dad?" he asked. "Uh-huh," sung the father in his strangely affected voice. Colby pulled his covers up defensively. Is Mom around?" "Here I am." Mom's head popped into the doorway below Dad's, and her voice was an unnatural falsetto. "Were you about to tell us that you gave our home address to Helper23? You shouldn't have done that. We told you to never give out personal information on the internet," she continued. "He wasn't really a kid. He just pretended to be one. Do you know what he did? He came to our house, broke in, and murdered both of us, just so he could spend some time with you." A fat man in a wet jacket emerged in the doorway holding the 2 severed heads. Colby shrieked and gasped as the man dropped the heads on the ground, unsheathed his knife, and moved into the room to work on the boy. My son screamed too. He twisted his hands defensively over his face. But we were just getting started with the story. After several hours, the boy was almost dead, and his screams had become whimpers. The killer noticed the wailing of a baby in another room and removed his knife from Colby. He had never murdered a baby before and was excited about the prospect. Helper23 left Colby to die and followed the cries through the house. In the nursery, he walked to the crib, picked the baby up, and held it in his arms. He moved towards the changing table to get a better look, but as he held the baby, the crying died down. On the contrary, he looked up and smiled. Helper23 had never held a baby, but he gently bounced it in his arms like a pro. He wiped his bloody hands on the blanket so he could stroke the baby's cheek. "Hey there, sweet little guy." His beautiful rage of sadism melted into something warmer and softer. He walked out of the nursery, took the baby home, named him William, and raised him as his very own. After I finished the story, my son was visibly shaken. But Dad, my name's William," he stammered. I gave him a classic dad wink and tousled his hair. "Of course it is, son."
This whole time, so that's the son, and that's the killer that I like, that's his dad. Well, I don't know about to watch it on Wanseeentertainment no more, because they be like, I don't know what made me just do that skit that. Bruh.
William ran up the stairs to his bedroom in a fury of sobs. I think he liked my story.
I like that show, son, bruh. Come on now. You know they ain't nowhere your son. You don't even got no wife. Alright?
Hello, my friends. Do you remember the Darkest Secret channel?
But what I'm saying is, he know he don't got no child. For him, oh, so let me stop. Yes. Y'all, if y'all don't know what chills is, y'all gotta be on drugs, because you gotta be either one of the best ones. And, that's all I was just saying. So, let me get 21. Let me get hey, what you finna order? Hey. I'm trying to think what I'm about to pick. I'm trying to think what I'm about to pick. It's a weird people. Tell me if you could say you are like.
We never know how we are going to react to a scary situation until the day comes. Hopefully you will never have to find out. Number 10. Delbert Latham and his son are on a roller coaster with nowhere to go when his son's restraints fail and he falls all the way to the floorboards. Listen and you'll hear him say my seatbelt in a scared voice.
I got you. It's fine. Hey, you're fine. I promise, okay?
Delbert squeezes his child's waist, and now an arm is the only thing keeping his son from flying off. He is squeezing as tight as he can, and manages to keep his grip for the last major fall.
I got you. Hey, you're fine.
I think most parents would be flipping out, and I'm amazed how calm Delbert remains the entire time, especially considering how bad this could have gone. If the description for this video is to be believed, then the operator was aware of the faulty seatbelt and was letting people on board anyway, meaning his son was not the only one to experience this terrifying ride. Number 9. A YouTuber in Louisiana named Barris Bash tries to stay positive as his entire neighborhood fills with water, with everyone still trapped inside. What starts as some water in his backyard soon enters the home and becomes a total crisis. The YouTuber has the right attitude by not panicking. He puts on a brave face as he makes a video to help relieve the stress. At the same time, I can't help but notice the TV is still on. It's pretty high off the ground, but I think they should have shut off all power because any charge could electrify the very water that they're standing in.
Keeping water around your house. Not that bad.
Eventually, when the water gets too high, they escape via canoe and row to dry land.
It's so retarded.
If the family didn't have this canoe, then they would have been at the mercy of a rescue or one of their neighbors. Number 8. A YouTuber named the J Mords is enjoying the Swiss Alps until a massive snowfall traps him alive. Now it's up to Daniel O'Sullivan and his small crew to locate and dig him out before he runs out of air or freezes, whichever comes first. Daniel rips off his gloves so he can put together his digging tools more quickly. After all, getting frostbite in a few fingers is nothing compared to saving an actual life. They don't see anything for a while, until James sticks a pole out of the snow and waves it around to draw their attention. This shaves hours off of their search and is ultimately what saves his life. With the J-Mort located, Daniel doesn't waste a single moment going to work on the freezing snow with only a shovel and his bare hands.
We're here, dude.
By the end of it, Daniel's hands are too frozen to even take his helmet off, but his friend is alive, and that's all that really matters. Kudos for such a well-done rescue. Number 7. A clerk is ringing up a customer in Japan when the lights go out and the ground begins to shake. The customer freezes in place and doesn't know what to do, but the brave clerk drags her around the counter by the hand. Just as the worst of it comes, without looking, the heroic cashier pushes the customer's head under the counter to protect against the falling bottles breaking all around them. At one point, it looks like the shelves are going to topple onto them both, but thankfully the store's infrastructure holds out. By the end of the video, the floor is covered with bottles that fell right where the customer would have been if she wasn't rescued at the last second. Number 6. A YouTuber named Sasha is enjoying her vacation in South Korea when she notices a clown in a dirty outfit and a wrinkled white mask is appearing in a lot of her shots. He starts out far away and gets progressively closer until he is practically breathing on her at times.
He looks creepy. Does he look at me?
Sasha plays it off like a joke at first, but when the clown follows her into the mall, she realizes that this is a real issue and she needs to lose him fast.
Because this strange guy he's here, and it's not funny. Look. He look at me.
She tries hiding, but when that doesn't work, she calls a passenger service to come pick her up, just as the man switches from a walk to a run. I guess she doesn't know that the police number in Korea is 112, so she does the next best thing and runs away as the clown gains on.
She making me mad, bro. She making me mad. Because all this time, she could have anybody in that mall could have been like, why that clown keep following you? And plus, that ain't even the point. She should have been like, security, can you get him? Cause he keep following me, and he like, but you gonna just let that slide, let somebody just following you, and you ain't gonna
do her ride pulls up just in time, and she manages to escape. Even though Sasha didn't call the authorities, she still handled the situation well by getting away from this stranger as fast as possible. Number 5. When a blue car pulls up and a couple steps out, the gas station clerk notices something is wrong. The woman walks far ahead of the man, almost like he doesn't trust her enough to let her out of his sight, and they immediately go to the ATM to make a large cash withdrawal. At the counter, they continue to stand a wide distance apart, which looks suspicious since friends would be closer. The man seems relaxed, but the woman stands straight and looks very tense. They are just about to leave when the clerk tells the woman to stop. She freezes in the doorway and the clerk puts himself between the two. He can tell the woman is in distress at this point and tells her to go back into the store, which she does. Meanwhile, the man outside looks like he is going to pull something out of his jacket and then drives away instead. As it turns out, the clerk was correct to stop them. The woman was being held captive and being driven from ATM to ATM in the middle of the night. The clerk was smart to wait until she was out of his reach before confronting the man.
You come my bed, I help you, no problem.
If he had waited for police, the two would have been long gone before any help arrived. Number 4. When a man enters a gas station.
Now they showing cash register and money. It's just like, what? Videos only.
This scary top 12 list shows mind-bendingly terrifying situations, and only the brave can handle watching them. Number 12. A stranger in Phoenix, Arizona waits outside.
Some of these stuff, to be honest, right now, be getting me mad. Cause I know I looked at one of his videos, one of them was freaking so good. It was that one on top. Which ones? And I just...
You don't have to be into video games to enjoy this video. And by enjoy, I mean get really scared. Number 10. Kriparian is live streaming some Hearthstone when he gets into a scary Twitch moment that has his subscribers screaming that there's a ghost in the window. The unknown person leaves for a bit and then comes back only to open the door and help himself to something right by the door. Within 3 seconds, he is gone again.
Actually, where is my bag? Where's the bag? Knowledge is...
His girlfriend goes out to investigate and finds them with the bag in one of the other rooms. They told her they thought it was theirs, but it's pretty clear from the sarcasm in Kriparian's reply that he doesn't believe them at all.
Oh, they thought it was their bag. Oh, yeah.
So this is one of the most popular and often talked about scary Twitch moments in the history of the platform, and yet a lot of people still don't know the full story. He was at a gaming event and apparently the person at the window was another live streamer who was actually hanging out with them earlier. If you look really closely, he does seem to put his hand up and knock on the glass at 25 seconds to try and get their attention. Nobody hears him though, so rather than disturb the live stream any further, he quietly opens the door and takes what he thought he left behind. I really doubt that anyone would be foolish enough to take something from a popular live streamer who is blatantly live streaming to thousands of people. So it seems like a simple case of miscommunication that was later blown way out of proportion by the internet. Number 9. 2 men go into an internet cafe early in the morning with a few pro tools and the worst of intentions. Hardly anyone is there, and even if the place were busy, it wouldn't matter because they've got their routine down to a science. They pick 2 seats midway down so as not to look obvious. One of them acts like they're going online, but what he's really doing is helping to cover the movements of his friend, who has already unscrewed the casing of the computer and is now working on the floorboards that are holding it down. There's a wall on his side, so if you worked there, it would be like he was digging through a backpack or something. Something walks by them at 28 seconds and is too busy on their phone to notice what they're up to. They act like they are looking at something on the same screen as the entire uncased computer gets put into a large plastic bag. They put the empty computer case back to make it look like nothing is out of place. They can't just walk out of there with a big obvious computer-shaped plastic bag, so they take it into the bathroom and dismantle the computer for valuable spare parts and throw the rest in the trash. The clerk has no idea what they've done, not even glancing up as they briskly walk out with top-of-the-line video cards, RAM, and other hardware to sell. Clearly, this isn't their first time, but this time they were caught on camera. Number 8. A YouTuber named Conman165 has a somewhat scary moment on his gaming stream while talking about wrestling. Something he thinks could be a possible ghost sighting caught on webcam.
During the match. Like, you know what I mean? Like... Did anybody else just see that?
A small ghost orb moves his way and disappears, and if you look closely, the ghost orb blinks a little before it hits the middle of the door and goes away. I'm not saying that this ghost orb couldn't be dust, I'm just saying that nothing else like it appeared for the rest of the stream, and it's obviously something he's not used to seeing either based on his reaction.
I saw like this white line run and just like fall down back here. That was weird.
Hopefully Conman165 will keep us updated if any other creepy stuff happens. Number 7. sparks fly out of the wall at an internet cafe and send everyone into a total panic. At first, it looks like they are trapped in the far corner. At 41 seconds, you can see it's coming from the damaged circuit panel, so there's no way to turn off the power. You can see that they are fortunately outside, but probably not standing as far back as they should be. If you speak this language, tell me what they are saying. I hope he's telling the crowd to back up before someone gets zapped. Number 6. A YouTuber named Vintango says his Xbox might be possessed by a ghost, and a bunch of people in the comments are backing him up. It's opening and closing at random like crazy, and then all of a sudden it stops like it's thinking about something. When it starts up again, one commenter says that it kind of sounds like the ghost is trying to make the Xbox say help me. This video is from 2009, so the console was already up to 8 years old and possibly breaking down. Spirits try to communicate with all sorts of other electronic devices, so I guess an old Xbox is as good as anything. Number 5. A YouTuber named the Spyro Gamer has a mysterious problem with his PS4 controller that I don't think is covered by the warranty. The unexplained video begins with him turning the controller on, and the light on the top remains solid like normal, but whenever he passes by this area of his room...
Is in my cabeza if I go over here. There, look, see? See? See that?
The controller flashes in a mysterious way and then turns off. No matter what he does, the controller refuses to stay on in the closet. Keep in mind it was able to stay on normally when he was on his bed, so the controller appears to be set up properly and not broken. The unexplained video starts to make a little more sense when you consider ghosts supposedly can disrupt electronic equipment, and that's when the ghost stops trying to hide.
I think it's gone. Yeah. Oh.
He feels something walk by, the controller turns off, and then the door slams. Freaky, right? Number 4. This moment is now infamous in the streaming community and has been talked about years ago on Top 15s. But for those who weren't aware, Zillion OP, who streamed on Twitch, appeared to be paraplegic and enabled his viewers to donate money to him. But in April 2013, generous donors and viewers alike got the shock of their lives when this gamer stood from his wheelchair, likely forgetting that he was streaming. Most had believed the gamer to be completely immobile, according to what they'd seen on prior streams. Needless to say, viewers turned on him and were rightfully angry about being misled. Zillion's girlfriend can be heard in the video when she realizes and begins rambling with a random story about taking their dogs to the fish shop, whatever that is.
Our dog, oh my god, we took our dog, to the fish shop today.
She continues talking as somebody, likely Zillion, turns the camera downward. Both Zillion OP and his girlfriend had their accounts closed for violating Twitch's terms of service. When the website Kotaku requested a statement from Twitch, it went on to say that subscribers would be given refunds. Number 3. This PlayStation 4 keeps restarting all by itself and makes a creepy noise at the end of the video that it didn't make at all before. I know a lot of you already know what a PS4 turning on sounds like. I just thought it was weird because mine has never made that noise, but maybe yours has. I see this is a special edition console, so maybe that's why. Number 2. Scary Fortnite moments are kind of rare, because it's not really a scary game to begin with, but this Fortnite moment is too bizarre not to discuss. Lunatic lands at the stable of Anarchy Acres and opens 4 doors while his teammate checks the ones on the other side. With the building cleared, it's time to go. But when he turns around, this door is mysteriously shut again. And here it opens by itself. It must be a glitch, but here's the thing. A lot of other players have reported similar scary moments in their Fortnite games. Creepy stuff like doors opening and hearing footsteps in houses after every room's been checked. And then there's this alleged ghost sighting in Pleasant Park by a player named Double LL. He runs up the hill to flank, but his opponent is gone. When he finds him again a few minutes later, the player does another disappearing act, and even more strangely, a reappearing act too. Over the hills he goes, but when Double LL reaches the same area, the ghost player is gone again. To be honest, the disappearing player is probably someone with a bad connection, or a cheater rather than an in-game ghost, but there's still one more scary Fortnite video left. That's weird. Jesse Barron is playing Fortnite with his friend Mikkel when 3 a.m. rolls around and they hear a creepy noise, not in-game but in Mikkel's house, right behind him.
Yo, listen, behind you. What? Bro, you hear that?
Yo, what was that?
Jesse boxes them in to stay safe, and that's when it gets even more bizarre.
Like, do I wait? I guess I'll just wait. I still have a minute and 30 seconds till... Wait.
Something controls Mikkel's avatar, even though he's not in the same room. It starts following him and even finds some other players, so Mikkel doesn't come back for the whole round. And Jesse's wondering what's going on when he gets a text from Mikkel explaining that he's left the house because he didn't feel safe. Creepy, but he could have pretended to leave the room and then kept playing off camera. I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because I upload 4 new scary videos every week. If one... A man is happily gaming at a busy internet cafe when this scary moment happens. He is able to partially sit up again with some assistance, but something in his mind has apparently snapped. I guess this could either be exhaustion, or maybe even reacting to seeing too many flashing colors at once. I just thought it was scary because it happens out of nowhere. The woods are filled with creepy things, especially at night. The woods are filled with creepy things, especially at night, waiting for someone like you. Number 11. Alyssa the Explorer rents a cabin in the woods, one that apparently has an extra guest inside.
This place is so cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
What the somebody in there with you?
Something scary passes by, a ghost in the window behind her, or perhaps some kind of hunched over figure in robes. I really hope this is computer effects, because if not, she needs to climb out that window fast. Number 10. This mysterious creature sighting.
Chills, thank you. Thank you. I would have climbed out of that window too. I don't care how high it is. I'm gonna go. Committed suicide. Honestly, I won't say it.
Is rumored to have been caught on the cell phone camera of a farmer somewhere in India who kept hearing scary noises coming from the woods nearby. When he goes to the edge of the forest, all he can hear is crickets. But it's not because he's alone. Far from it. It's because the mysterious creature is silently waiting not too far away. This could be a Wendigo, a skinwalker, or some other creature that's unknown. Assuming that this is not computer effects, I have little doubt that the creature would have descended upon the farmer from the treetops had he not spotted it with his cell phone camera first. At 49 seconds, its mouth is wide open, and it looks ready to pounce. Number 9. When a YouTuber named Lil Goofy is exploring some trails with his friends, they decide to take a rest. That's when someone decides it's time to make them run. Somebody who's probably been following them for a while. The sun is settling, but there's still enough light to catch a potential lurker video on their helmet cam. At 1 minute and 8 seconds, they think the strange man waves hello, but he might be waving around something sharp instead. They debate what to do next, and then he makes the decision for them when he runs straight at them. They lose him fast and crouch down in the weeds to let the lunatic run past, and then they go back to their car. What's weird about this video, assuming that it's real, is that he's dressed like a normal person. You wouldn't think twice about passing this stranger on a trail until they are already following you. It's probably one of their friends, but we'll never know for sure, and that's what makes it creepy. Number 8. A YouTuber named Erwin Saunders claims to be able to communicate with some mysterious forest creature who seems to come out after it rains, or so he says. He sits under a tree and talks for quite some time, and just when it seems like nothing mysterious or creepy is ever going to happen in these woods.
Oh, sorry about that. He was doing it. Oh, there he is. Okay, let's there.
Some sort of goblin-like humanoid briefly comes out and abruptly leaves, checking over their shoulder all the while. The video quality remains high resolution and doesn't change, so people are saying this creature sighting could be real. Number 7.
I'm so startled right now. I think I may have stumbled across.
While alone in the woods, a YouTuber named Christina Roberts sets her sights on 2 mysterious creatures she has never seen before. They look to be covered in fur and appear to walk upright as they spread out to cover more ground. At 30 seconds, one turns to reveal a broad, hairy back and may even be carrying one of its offspring. The 2 creatures are caught on Christina's camera, but they don't detect her because she is wearing camouflage and quietly whispering to herself out of view. They sit down in a clearing and she uses the opportunity to sneak away. I personally think creatures look to be about normal size and could just be people in gorilla suits. Hundreds of people have left comments agreeing that this is one of the scariest forest creature videos they've ever seen. So I guess I could be wrong. Tell me what you see. Number 6. A person named Khorn1234 is not sure what to make of this video and would like our help to investigate what could be paranormal lights in the woods at night. It starts off as one tiny red light at 2 minutes and 28 seconds, and soon the entire surrounding forest is lit up by them. Strange flashing lights suspended in midair. He looks the other way and across the field sees more of them. It's not houses and it's not towers, he says, and I agree. They seem to spontaneously appear and disappear without reason. It kind of looks like Christmas lights, except this was taken in the middle of July. So what are they? Number 5. A survival YouTube channel called Funky Prepper thinks they've caught a real ghost sighting caught on tape in the middle of what would therefore be a creepy haunted forest. He is talking about a tent that he likes to use when a pale ghost creeps through the woods behind him. It's not dust, it's not lighting. That's either a computer animation or the pale white outline of a ghost. Now here's the thing. The ghost encounter just so happens to occur in the middle of a sales promotion. So while this very well could be a genuine ghost sighting, the timing is a bit too much of a coincidence. It makes you think this apparition caught on tape could instead be a clever...
Chills. He probably got the goodest eyes in the earth, cause he will see every single
viral marketing video. Number 4. Holly's Lore is a paranormal investigation channel that explores creepy abandoned places to see if local legends are real or fake. In one ghost hunting episode, she explores a haunted forest in the swamps of Maryland in search of a headless apparition named Big Liz. The haunted bridge is said to be where all of the ghost sightings of Big Liz have occurred. There's a certain ritual to summon her that I'll get into in just a second. But first, they explore the bridge and hear some creepy noises that could be ghost moans. Tell me if this sounds paranormal to you.
What in the is that? Did you hear it again? That sounds like something dying.
Okay, so now the time has come to summon Big Liz. To do so, they must flash their lights 3 times and honk twice. Watch this area closely or you'll miss it.
Flash them 3 times, honk twice, right?
Yep.
What was that? What are you talking about? Wait, what? At 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 17 seconds, a shadowy mist passes over the bridge. There is no fog and nothing obstructing the headlights. They all see it except for one investigator whose view was obstructing because they were sitting in the car to flash the lights. And when Holly investigates the nearby woods with a high-power flashlight, the ghostly figure is caught on camera.
I thought it was closer. It was closer. But now I'm hearing it way over there.
So as far as I'm concerned, this paranormal investigation shows that the legend is real. Number 3. A YouTube explorer named Adventures with Josh tracks what he later describes as a strange creature sighted while exploring an abandoned house in the middle of some rather scary woods at night. The structure he finds is no bigger than a doghouse and is empty upon investigation. But when he turns around and looks up, he sees it, and it sees him.
What is it? That thing is freaky. Hello?
A mysterious creature with glowing white eyes stares down without a word. I know it's a creature and not someone wearing night vision goggles because the glowing blank eyes blink multiple times.
I can't even tell what animal that is. It doesn't look like a possum.
A possum was my next guess, but apparently the eyes are too far apart for it to be one. The brow resembles a human more than an animal. I don't know what this strange creature sighting is, but it does seem to be waiting for him to leave, so it can go back to its creepy abandoned home in the middle of the woods. Number 2. This spooky trail cam photo of a girl could be the ghost of a child, which would explain how she is able to get so close to the deer without scaring them. One of the deer seems to look at her, and she is looking at the deer closest to the camera. Her arm is up to her face like she is scared and uncertain, not understanding where she is or what she's seeing. Maybe she just appeared moments ago. A second picture shows this girl taking a few steps forward, and both she and the deer are both looking up at something we can't see. The other deer seem to have taken more of an interest in the girl and seem to almost be nudging her forward, or confused at what it's seeing in the dark. The only one here who seems worried is the child.
No disrespect, but why I feel like her black eye, it's like right here, and her other black eye is right there, like looking like both. I ain't trying to be.
She has a terrible look on her face, like someone who is too exhausted to be scared anymore. If this is not a ghost girl, then it has to be a Photoshop, because no wild animal would ever let a human get so near. I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because I upload 4 new scary find outs night. Scary noises that certainly have to be hungry wolves. Undisclosed neighborhood in East Texas captures on camera some scary noises from the woods at night. Scary noises that certainly have to be hungry wolves laying territorial claim. Down by the way. So if those were wolves, tell me what this next scary noise is, or more importantly, why it's coming straight towards him. People in the comments are saying that this sounds like a half-wolf, half-human creature. The uploader has lived here for a long time, and the scary voice in the woods is enough to send him running back inside, because he's never heard anything like it before, although he probably should have never gone outside to begin with if you ask me. According to one comment, there's been lots of reports of these scary noises in East Texas for years now, without a proper explanation. If you live here, then let me know if you've heard the unexplained screams and what you think they are. This list has ghost videos that are so scary, you should never watch them in the dark.
Oh really? I can watch it in the dark. Yeah, they made a new one or something, cause Well, I could watch one of the old ones if I want to, though. Cause I would. What are they on? The other ones. The deep woods. Oh, deep woods. You know you're going to die. You see this thumb? Like this thumbnail? Ding. My bad.
Visit Happy Honda Days at your local Honda dealer or shop online.
You know how long I'm gonna be here? Just for this video, I was in here like an hour. I'm sure. Name me a film. Let's go.
About 10 years ago when I was 12, I would always go into the nearby woods with my friends for most of the day. One night, we left pretty late. Usually I got home before dark, but today, I knew I wouldn't make it back, and I already knew my parents would be mad at me. We were walking in a group for a few blocks, then a couple of my friends split from us to go to their house. I started to notice that a van kept driving past us. I didn't think anything of it. And then my last friend split to go to her house. I had about 5 to 10 minutes left until mine. Then I see that van again, and it pulled up right beside me and stopped. The driver rolled down the front window. Then she told me that she can't find her son and she's been looking all evening. Then she asked me if I'd seen him. I looked and I said no. Then she asked me if I wanted to get in her van to help find him. I said no again, and I looked forward. Then she asked me, am I sure? I didn't answer and I started to walk faster. Then all of a sudden, there was some guy in her back seat that said, "Let's just fucking snatch her." I looked at the van for a split second as the woman looked in the back seat and she sped up to park on the side of the street. I started running through yards. I heard the doors open and shut on the van, but I didn't look back until I got home. Nobody followed me. I told my parents and we called the cops. I never missed curfew after that.
That little jump scare. They need some like some stuff like that, but I'm sorry I had to do all that noise. But anyways, this is another fake live stream. The prom night. The prom. Y'all lame.
This story just happened last year. I work as a receptionist at a hotel, and we often hold high school proms here as we have a big hall and a stage. In order to get to the hall, you have to pass the reception desk. It was prom night, and it was already underway. All the students and teachers were in the dance hall. All the pictures had been taken, and the reception area was empty. At some point during the evening, someone approached the reception desk. I looked up to see a tall man standing there. He had a clean-shaven face, and his hair was greasy and tied back in a ponytail. He was also wearing a suit that was pretty old, and it was also dirty, along with some Adidas shoes. His eyes were wide open, and he said, "I'm here for the prom." At first, I thought he was kidding, but he looked dead serious. I said, at first, I thought he was kidding, but he looked dead serious. I said, are you employed by the school? He said, no, I'm a student here. I still kept thinking he was joking. He looked to be in his late 40s, and he was telling me he was a high school student. So I asked him, how old are you? He said, I'm 17. No, 16. Yeah, 16. At this point, I thought he was on drugs or something. I said, I'm sorry, but you don't look 16 at all. He just stared at me, not saying a word, with his eyes wide, staring right at me. He then leaned over to me and said,
I saw this from Wanseeentertainment. Just play, check it out.
When transitioning from military to civilian life, Sullivan University offered the programs that would enable me to acquire the right skill set. The IT and cybersecurity.
It'd be extra funny, but at the same time, it'd be kind of bad. So
I live in Hungary, Budapest, and I live with my mother in a 2-room apartment. My hobby is dancing, so I wreck some stuff here and there, because my room is pretty small. But coming back from school one day, my stuffed animals were dislocated. I was sure I hadn't knocked them over. I would have noticed if I did, and they always sit in a row. But on this occasion, one of the plushies was in front of the balcony door, sitting like it was looking out the window, watching. But that was only the start. Before leaving for school, I made sure that all my stuffed animals were in order, sitting in the aforementioned row. But that was only the start. Before leaving for school, I made sure that all my stuff.
This dude got a SpongeBob, Cuphead, Friday Nights at Freddy's, and the hard teddy bear. I saw that one. And then he got a Child's Play one. What kind of ridiculous man, dude? And that ain't no plushie, that's a doll. Stupid.
Animals were in order, sitting in the aforementioned row. But over the next 2 days, every time I came home, they were always dislocated. One time, one of them was on my bed, facing my bedroom door, and the other was still in front of the balcony door, again, as if it was peeking out the window. This kept happening for a while, and I didn't know how to explain it. I didn't know what was going on. I confronted my mom about it one evening, and she said that she doesn't go into my room while I'm at school unless I have dirty clothes in there, and usually I'm good about picking up my own clothes. One day I decided to test what was going on, so I took one of the stuffed animals, and I hid it under my bed, where the weight of the mattresses almost squished it. It wasn't noticeable. The only way you'd find the stuffed animal would be if I told you where it was. Then I went on to school trying to take my mind off of this situation. But when I came home, it was far creepier than I ever expected. Stuffed animals were all over the place. Some were scattered across my bed. Others were inside the closet door, which I kept shut. And there was even one hanging on top of the door. And I think what scares me most of all is the one that I hid under the bed. When I went and checked on it, I found that some of the cloth there of the mattresses was torn and shredded, and there were shreds leading to the balcony door. And that same stuffed animal, the one that I would find dislocated and staring out the balcony door window, it was now outside on the balcony, with the balcony door closed, and it was staring in at me. I was panicking at this point, and unsure of what was happening or what I could do about it. And unfortunately, I thought that my only option was to get rid of them. So my mother helped me put the stuffed animals in a trash bag, and we threw them all out. Luckily, nothing strange like that has happened again. But you better believe that this story still haunts the darkest reaches of my mind.
Hi, I'm Chucky.
Clinically proven ingredients that fuel 5 indicators of brain performance. 30 days and see the difference.
I'm not even going to lie to myself. I ain't thinking that's one of the best ones from Board Short Party. But it just like, it ain't bad. It ain't bad. It ain't bad. But, can y'all? I hope y'all don't hear this. So, just like I say, I hope you didn't hear none of that. But anyways,
A couple of years ago,
You gotta download this app. I'm texting somebody right now. You can play with people on here and play Among Us and stuff like that. I'm gonna just say hi.